Alrighty. Ready to count him? Yep. Alrighty. 3, 2, 1, go. Alrighty, so Banjo-Kazooie 100%. Unsurprisingly, we're going to get everything. The only thing we don't get are Mumbo tokens and stop and swap eggs, but we get all the jiggies, all the honeycombs, and all the notes. I've got a Stingy Seagull and Nitros on the couch with me. These guys don't run Banjo, but we were having a little Banjo session in the practice room learning some tricks before. Good fun.
That's a lie. I've run Banjo-Tooie.
You've run Banjo-Tooie?
No, DCW, which is a nice quick category.
Oh, yeah. So what we're going to do here through Spiral is just grabbing all the honeycombs. It started off well. I got that high jump up to the collywobble. It looks kind of easy, but you always miss it. Luckily, it's the first thing you do in the run, so you can just reset if you don't get it. And there's actually a bit of RNG to the honeycombs there. It depends how high they bounce up. So sometimes they go really high and you can't get them quickly. That one there was really low. It's quite a good spiral so far, actually. So yeah, a few mechanics in this game. You'll see me rolling around a lot. Rolling is fast. At the end of the roll, you get like a really big slowdown, so you don't want to just end your roll. You'll see me like jumping out of the roll a lot. Although if I can get something like that where I roll at the edge twice, it's usually pretty quick. So he's going to be going through and collecting these here. Rolling we won't see for very long. We're going to get like faster movement, like Talon Trot. And that plays into a glitch that I've done at the start of the run. So off camera, I prepared something earlier. We set up in Furnace Fun with all the moves and took a death in one of the minigames. So basically, what's happening in the game right now is it's stored all the moves that I have on that other file, and it's going to give them to me when I enter the first level. So right now, we don't have the moves, but when I enter Mumbo's Mountain, I'll have pretty much everything. So we're coming up towards the end of Spiral here, and I'm going to try for something called Bottle Skip. Bottle Skip can sometimes work, sometimes not. Basically, there's this big trigger around bottles. See if I get it here. So, almost had it, but if that happens, you just talk to bottles. It loses like 3 seconds. Alright, so in the lair we're going to be introduced to all the different sort of mechanics of the game. We're going to pick up jiggies. Jiggies are used to open levels here, so we'll get that. And we're going to get notes to open note doors through the lair. The other collectible you saw was honeycombs. That's going to just give me some more health throughout the run. So 100% can be a pretty comfy category because you have lots of health, but there are some levels that do get a bit scary later. I was doing flutter cancels there, which is where Banjo sort of just flutters into the ground. If you ever tried to do those on your copy of Banjo, it might not have actually worked because flutter cancels don't work on the PAL version of the game. They do work on NTSC, which is the version I'm playing. It's on like a Japanese Nintendo 64. And the real action here is really going to start when we're in Mumbo's Mountain. So you'll notice no more of this slow rolling movement. As soon as we get in here, as long as I haven't screwed up the glitch, we're going to do Talon Trot right away. Alright, so we got Talon Trot now, and basically the fastest movement here is just to jump, jump, jump. So I hope you like Kazooie's Roo sound, because you're going to be hearing it for the next 2 hours. And we have the first, I guess, major skip of the run called Termite Skip coming up here. So Ticker's Tower is very slippery. You're supposed to be the termite to get up it. But if we're precise about how we jump around, we can sort of just use the slope timer to get up it instead. So the way that slipping off these slopes works is you have like a second that you can be over the slope before you slip off. So by jumping out over the flat ground, I reset that timer and then you just get up. That does work on the Australian copy of the game, so try that one at home. It doesn't work on some versions, so like the Japanese version it doesn't work, and there was a later revision of the US version which doesn't. The Xbox version that also doesn't work on, so you just got to be wary of what version you're playing there. A few little minor optimizations that have happened over the years. So we used to just like flick the camera around to follow us through these notes here. But some of the major tech that's been found since, I guess, last time it was at ASM is a lot of lag reduction. So you'll see through this entire section here, I'm basically just pointing the camera at the wall. That's because walls don't lag, but if I flick the camera around, we'd be pointing at the water, and the water can be very laggy. So it makes it a bit trickier to grab these notes because I can't really see where I'm going, but it does make it better because it's a bit faster. The game will speed up Banjo if the game's lagging, but it doesn't really speed up Banjo enough to make it fully balance out. So like Banjo will speed up with lag, but some stuff like a Jiggy Jig or a Talon Trot animation won't. Coming into Congo, which is probably the most technical section of Mumbo's Mountain, I've specifically jumped here to stand over the Jiggy there. You sort of get the Jiggy at the same time the cutscene's playing, it saves you a little bit of time. and then we're going to get our first move, which is eggs. We'll only actually learn 2 moves from bottles in this run. I know all, or 3 moves. I know all the other moves here. The reason we learn eggs from bottles is because he gives us a little top up when he teaches us eggs. And I'm also going to be hitting the first witch switch of the run. So these witch switches, they like spawn jiggies just outside the level. So you normally need the termite to get that one, but we'll just get it without the termite. Some witch switches will hit, others we won't. There's a really cool route that we're going to do in this run. It's called the RBA route. And basically what's going to happen is we're going to take the bee out of the last level and just bring the bee back through the lair and grab pretty much all the witch switch jiggies. It saves a lot of time of grabbing them with Banjo. Because I'm sure you've noticed, every time we grab a jiggy with Banjo there, it's like a 4.5 second cutscene where he does the jiggy jig dance there. And on the last jiggy of the level, it's actually like 8.5 seconds, so it's even worse. So pretty much almost every level, we're going to be skipping the very last jiggy jig, and for a lot of levels, we're going to be skipping quite a few of the jiggy jigs here. This bit can be quite brutal in 100%. You're supposed to knock out 3 of the totem pole sections and then jump on the 4th one. If you've been running any percent a lot and you have the muscle memory from that, quite often what happens is you knock out all 4 of the poles and then realize you've forgotten the honeycomb. It's very bad if you do that because you have to then like reload the level to get the honeycomb again. And yeah, pretty much the other thing we're going to be collecting through the run is a whole bunch of Mumbo tokens. So I've got 5 Mumbo tokens here, which means that in theory, if I wanted to, I could transform into the termite here. Although given we did termite skip before, there's no real reason to transform into the termite. We are actually pretty tight on Mumbo tokens at the start of the game. Basically the way this RBA route works, we're doing all the Mumbo heavy levels really early on. So we're in a big mad rush for Mumbo tokens right at the start, and then towards the end we're not really worrying about them too much. So I'll get some like really slow tokens here, and then towards the end of the run I'll skip some really fast ones. It looks really weird. Coming up here is like the first jiggy jig skip that I'm about to do. So basically the way this one's going to work, you don't get a jiggy animation if you're swimming. Now this jiggy's on land, but I can sort of trick the game into giving it to me while I'm swimming, so hopefully I get this. There's like a little audio cue. Alright, so spawn jiggy. There we go. Alright. Now Banjo's holding the jiggy, but if you just flutter into the water, yeah. So if you hear the music's just ended there. I would still be grabbing that jiggy then if I didn't do the little skip here. And towards the end here, we got the back half of Termite skip, which would just grab the jiggy on top of Mumbo's mountain there. Again, that's just using that little 1 second slope timer thing so that you can get up properly on top of Mumbo's. That's why I jumped back out and onto the hill, because as long as you shadows over the ground, it'll tick up that little slope timer there and screw you up. I'm also going to go for a extremely stupid trick called Treasure Trove Cove Early. This trick saves, I timed it to be 10 seconds between the 2 golds. On average, it probably saves about 3 seconds, and it is really easy to mess up. But I figure I might as well go for all the harder tricks in the marathon and like have a bit of fun with it. So I do this in runs, but it's pretty uncommon for people to do it. The world record does it because 10 seconds is a lot to save, but more often than not, you just lose a run. So you're supposed to open the first 2 levels here, Treasure Trove Cove and Clanker's Cavern, but I'm just going to open Clanker's. Treasure Trove is still closed. I could open it, like the puzzle is literally next to me, but the cutscene takes like 15-16 seconds to open it, so I'm not going to bother. Treasure Trove Cove Early is a lot more relevant in any percent, where it actually saves you from getting 2 jiggies that you otherwise would have to get, but here we're literally just doing a cutscene skip. So we'll see how it goes here. It can be a little bit tense. Let's jump into this old cannon here. Alright, I sort of screwed up the camera, so we'll see. There we go. Now, it's not over yet, because I've still got to navigate to... There we go. So there's no, like, water... Cheers. Yeah, there's no water in between that bit where I stop swimming and TTC. So, like, if you mess up the flutter or go too low or something, you just fall out of bounds and die. Or if you go too high, you get back on land. So it's very tight, like, vertical positioning there. The other factor that's hard about TTC early is we've got like the cannon setup. Getting that into that cannon is really tricky. It's based on lag. So I said before, lag speeds up Banjo, and you do need lag to get into the cannon there. And that's why I pointed my camera in like a really weird direction to get the lag frame. Oy. So yeah, TTC early has a funny history. It was originally somebody called Chronicies who found it. Chronicies is an absolute legend in this game for glitch hunting. But they thought it was like an emulator-only glitch, and through a bit of trial and error, we messed with some camera setups, and I managed to get it on console like once on PAL, and then we eventually found some more setups. So yeah, it's got quite a history to it, but it's cool to save that extra 10 seconds in Hundo. And it was quick enough there that it was actually worth going for in the run, which is really fun.
Do you want to explain that move you just did to get to the bottom of the water from Talon Trot?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I forget about those little bits of text.
So cool.
Yeah, so it's called a quick dive there. So basically the way that one works is you're in Talon Trot and then you want to get out of Talon Trot. So normally the way I've been exiting Talon Trot is just by like pecking, because that's really fast. But if you don't peck, Banjo does like a little animation where he sort of like hops down from Talon Trot. If you do that while falling into water, Banjo just like plummets to the bottom of the water like a stone. It's called like a quick dive, and it helps you dive quickly, believe it or not. Bit of serious time here. I messed this one up in the practice room before, so we're a bit... geez, I'm a little bit low. Yeah, messed it up again. Can we get in? Well. Nah. This is a bit tense, this trick. I don't really like it. There we go. Oh.
Time loss.
Time loss. That's right. Yeah, so that one's a little bit tense there. What you're supposed to do is like count out all your feathers and like do really particular jumps to get across there. But I don't know, just didn't get it. So that's sort of slow in two different ways. So I fell out of the chest and took a whole bunch of damage and had to watch the jiggy jig. But also when you're done with that chest, you're supposed to get on top of this tower here. So now rather than getting on top of the tower, I've got to climb up it normally, unfortunately. That's alright, it's nothing major. We've got like a little X marks the spot minute game here. You've got to sort of like follow out all these X's. And we have our best friend Snacker in the water, who is pretty spooky. Definitely scared me as a kid. Oh, jeez, alright. Do a little quick dive in here. You can see just how far Banjo sinks, so rather than like swimming all down to the bottom, you just do that Talon Trot thing. And I probably will get some health here just to back up. Yeah, kind of like the scary thing about running this, I suppose, is if you die, you lose all your notes. So yeah, pretty much if I take a death here, I'm going to be like losing about 10 minutes or whatever, however long the level is, to grab a whole bunch of notes again. It shouldn't happen, but yeah, can. So when people do Banjo races, for example, it's not uncommon for people to like forfeit because they took a death and like lost all their notes. If you play the... Oh, sorry,
unless you play the Xbox version.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Xbox
benefit.
version saves your notes. It's probably worth mentioning, this game's on 3 different systems, N64, Xbox, and Switch. Don't play the Switch version, it's my advice. But the Xbox version gets a lot of flack, like a lot of people don't like it. In my opinion, the Xbox version is really good. Controls well, and you save your notes when you die. Oh, alright. I was supposed to quick dive down to that honeycomb there, but missed it, unfortunately. We've got a little trick called Nipper Skip coming up here. This is another thing that's changed recently. We used to high jump on top of Nipper, but now we just go through his little claw there. So I'm waiting, go through, and then just jump inside and attack him. There we go. Bit of downtime in the run here, so if we have any donations or anything, go for it.
Yeah, we had one come through in the last game. So we had $200 from SRD27 that says, Matching the next 500 donation for the next Hearthstone trick showcase, which is now complete, but thank you very much. And if you have any other donations that you want to send through, there are still some incentives. So we've got the Super Kiwi 64 Doomsday incentive. That will cut off at the end of the run, so we are 18% through that at the moment. And yeah, send that through with your donation and I will add it.
Alright, so we got a little trick called Leaky Skip coming up here. Leaky is a little bucket there that you have to poop eggs into, but if you know sort of where it is, you can just poop eggs off the edge there and get them in. There's like a little setup on the ground texture that you use, so it's pretty consistent to get. And we've got one of the very tense flying sections coming up here, so hopefully I don't screw it up like the last flying section. This one's probably the harder of the two. We'll see how it goes. Again, feather counts. So you sort of know what to do by just counting Banjo's flaps. Okay.
Oh, rough.
So that's pretty unavoidable there. Like I wanted to grab the Jinjo, but just depending on exactly your spacing, there may not be like a frame where you're actually touching the Jinjo in the air, so sometimes it just doesn't work.
You got the jig of shame.
Ah, yes. We'd like to skip this jig, but unfortunately not. That last X puts like a question mark there, so you're like, oh gee, I wonder where the next X is going to be. Where could it possibly be? It's literally just down on this little island here. I'm going to go for a really dumb strat here. I wasn't planning to. Why not? It's just a bit of fun. This might work, it might not. Hey!
Oh!
Yeah.
Sick.
That makes up for missing the Jinjo before.
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure it's just the same speed as just grabbing the Jiggy normally, but it's fun, so why not go for it? I'm going to try our spelling adventure here. Just in case you forget how Banjo-Kazooie is spelled, it's written on the wall as well. And I've got the little cartridge in front of me here, so I can read it off there too if I get stuck. '73 is usually a good time for this game. Yeah, 72 is not too bad.
Watch out for the crab.
Ah!
Oh, another jiggy jig of shame.
One of you guys want to explain what was supposed to happen there?
So usually on grabbing that jiggy, you want to have that crab positioned below the jiggy, so you die on collection, saving the time of the jig and getting booted out of the level at the same time.
And it's actually a similar thing used in the any %, but you do it inside of Nipper's shell with the green crabs.
Oh yeah, much more consistent than 80% because there's 2 crabs.
Twice as much coverage.
The brutal thing about missing that is it's like 8.5 seconds because the jiggy jig. So yeah, it can be pretty big time loss. You'll see that we end most levels by dying. There's a few reasons for that. Usually we're ending on a jiggy, so you're skipping the jiggy jig. The other reason you'll end up by dying is it puts Banjo right back to the start of the level, which is very fast, and also it restores your health. It's funny, the original Taz of this game was like a 2 hour, 20 minutes, like 2:23 I think the original Taz was. This was years ago, like I think 2006, and that Taz didn't really use any deaths, and then it had to like go around and collect a whole bunch of health.
You hear that?
Alright, we got the, probably the most annoying part of the run here. It's called a Phantom Bubble. I probably will not get it. There's this jump at the start, and it's based on the slope timer, so we'll see if we get it. Nah. That's fine. I think a lot of people don't like this level. Like, whenever I've shown this game to people, this is a level that would tend to like put people off Be like, why are you playing a swimming game, essentially?
I always get fear of drowning in this level.
Yeah, for good reason. Like, you're very likely to drown in this level. There's this bit where we're going to do in a second where we're going to go down and, like, turn the key. And there's a whole bunch of notes and, like, ginjotes and stuff to grab there. So, like, as is, you don't have enough air to get down there and then back up again. But there's our little friend called Gloop who swims down there and spits out bubbles. So hopefully with Gloop, I should be getting 2 bubbles from Gloop. And then that will give me enough air to go in and get everything. So if I got the jump at the start, there'd be a bubble called Phantom Bubble, which we get up here. Unfortunately, I didn't, so Gloop's well and truly past this. So there's a few backup bubbles that I'm going to get. I'm hoping after note number 18, Gloop will be there. Yes, I might actually not go for that bubble there. I'll go for this one. I'm actually going to get 2, just because I don't think it'd be good to drown in a marathon.
And for those of us who don't know what a phantom bubble is, does someone want to explain?
It's probably a good one for you, 8-bit.
Oh yeah, so Phantom Bubble's nothing overly special. It's literally just, Gloop is like spitting out bubbles like that. The bubble that you want to get is one that he spits out right as you're swimming down towards that whole note section. And the reason it's really good is because you don't have to swim out of your way to get the bubble, you sort of just swim straight into it on your way down. Phantom Bubble, the reason they call it Phantom Bubble is because you only get it if your movement at the start of the level is like perfect. If you lose like any time at all, you just don't get that bubble. I might get this extra on here. If you lose any time at the start of the level, you just don't get the bubble, and then you have to do like a different route. The other thing to mention about this level is it's all based on Clanker's cycles. So now that I've raised Clanker, he's going to be sort of bobbing up and down in the water. So the first cycle we're going to try and hit is his tooth cycle. Oh, by the way, yeah, in this really tense air situation, and Hundo just like goes and gets more stuff underwater while we're doing this. Why not? But yeah, I'm going to try and hit his tooth cycle there. So hopefully when I get up to this platform, he'll be bobbing just out of the water, which he will be. So that's really good. But if you get here and he's bobbing back into the water, then, you know, you miss like 10 seconds. All Clanker's cycles work on like 10-second cycles. So yeah, with the Phantom Bubble we're talking about, if you get Phantom Bubble, you make the best cycle. If you miss Phantom Bubble, you get a cycle that's 10 seconds slower. And to be honest there, I probably hit one that was like 20 or 30 seconds slower.
Alright, that's cool, because I've watched your practice runs and I'm like, you're talking about Phantom Bubble, like, I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, it's easy to forget all the weird like lingo that we come up with for this.
Yeah, I'll be honest, in my mind I was picturing a bubble that hadn't properly spawned in or something.
It's a weird name now that you think about it, yeah, isn't it?
Just get it renamed.
21. 23 is the best time that people can get. I'm not very good at 100%, so my best time's 22, but 21's pretty decent. Because the other thing I should mention about this game is like all the weird different categories. I'll hit this cycle first and then I'll talk about them. So that bolt there is going to dictate a lot of what cycles we're going to hit. The bolt goes up and down every 10 seconds. I'm going to try a little trick here called bolt jump. We'll see if we get it.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh,
yes.
So much like Phantom Bubble, bolt jump sort of dictates which 10-second cycle you get. So right now I'm on pace to get the best one of those 10-second cycles. Well, you know me, I'll probably like stuff it up and not get that one. There's a silly trick here. It's called honeycomb jump. There's like a little honeycomb in this pipe. Do you want to explain it?
So you do a backflip, which she just did. Managed to do the backflip out of the hole while collecting the honeycomb.
Because casually you're supposed to like dip down into that little segment and like fall down and have to come back up, but why not just high jump out?
It saves a good chunk of time.
Oh, absolutely. Ah! Camera did something weird there. I missed the 10. That's the best cycle there if you can get in the bolt right there, but I'm not going to hit that. I'm actually not too bummed to hit this cycle because it's like, this one's 10 seconds slower than the theoretical best one, and that's the one that you'd normally hit if you don't get bolt jump.
Now show off your bob and weave skills, please.
My what skills?
Your bob and weave.
Bob and weave, yeah.
No damage.
So one little thing that I'll mention, we use that FFM trick at the start of the run, which means I have Beak Bomb there. Like normally you'd have flying here regardless, but with Beak Bomb, it just makes everything a little bit quicker. This move here, Gold Feathers, it would actually be a lot faster to learn it in the FFM file, but there's no way to learn Gold Feathers in that FFM file without also knowing flying. And we want to learn flying in the run, so we also need to learn Gold Feathers in the run. It's a weird situation. So I think something that could save like 2 seconds in 100% is if there was some crazy skip to get up to this room here without flying. You would do it on your FFM file and save yourself like 2 seconds each run.
I think that's called save editing.
Yes. And in recent years, there's been like a lot of interest in a no FFM 100% category. Surprisingly, it doesn't use the FFM glitch. It's pretty fast now. It's like a 158, I want to say, something like that. World record for this category is like a 156. So FFM does save that little bit of time there. So yeah, the other categories in this game, we got 100%, which is probably the most popular category. I really wouldn't consider myself a 100% runner, which is like, I don't know, I've run it a little bit, but my main game is any percent for this. Any percent looks very similar. We do all the tricks like TTC early and stuff. But in the any percent categories, you literally only need 6 jiggies to beat it as fast as possible. And there's another category which only gets 1 jiggy for any percent, but it's actually a little bit, it's about the same speed, but it's a little bit harder. So yeah, any percent is just like grabbing a whole bunch of notes, and any percent's really cool because you get the B and you go around as the B and just grab a whole bunch of notes. But I don't know why. Any percent's never been that popular for this game. Definitely a lot more interest for the 100% stuff.
Nice.
And that's a little cheeky skip there with snippets. You poop eggs on them and you got to get up and grab the jiggy here. It's a little bit hard to do. And the way that I did it there, it would have been just slower than killing snippets normally because they weren't doing what I wanted them to do. So this is another really big swim. We're going to go through and get like a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to get these notes, we get a honeycomb, and then also another jiggy.
And drown.
Oh, yes. Hopefully I don't drown here. Oh, that would be terrible. You see there, I've got the extra health off that honeycomb. Quite often where you get those extra healths are quite relevant. You won't really want to get the extra health because more often than not, you want to set yourself up for a death warp. But this level, because I'm going to die by drowning, I don't really care that I've just had a health refill. So it's a good level to get the health on.
Perfect.
Yay, I died.
We do have a donation if you've got time.
Oh, perfect, yep.
Yep, so we've got $20 from Ginger Nut Mel. He says, this donation is for the Super Kiwi 64 Doomsday Incentive. Have a great run, Paragon.
I'm like really hyped for the Kiwi 64 run. I think it's going to be a good time. Any of those games by Siactro are like really enjoyable. MacBat in particular, and Beanie. Can't go wrong with Beanie. Oh, gosh darn it. There's nothing I really could have done there. Alright, so this is where the routes sort of diverge between the normal, I guess the old 100% route and the RBA route. Funny little history with the RBA route. So there's this glitch called RBA. It lets you get the B out of Click Clock Wood. For a really long time, it was only possible on the PAL version of the game, like the Australian or European copy. And it's faster to do the RBA route. And then like when it was PAL only, I found this route which saved like I think 30 seconds at the time where you would use RBA, and started doing 100% runs of it. But like it was very nobody wanted to run it because all the runners had their NTSC consoles and like didn't want to buy PAL and stuff, and it didn't save much time and it was like way harder. But since then we found RBA on NTSC, which is what I'm playing now. So we'll be doing that route in this run. And the RBA route saves a bit more time these days because since I found it, like a lot of reroutes have happened and it now saves like heaps of time. But you have to do this glitch called FPL here, which is a bit tense. Good. Hey, you're supposed to beak bomb into that door, but I'm not about to screw up the trick by doing that, so I'll just fly. FPL is the trick that I was failing over and over in the practice room, so I'm glad to get it first try. Misses like 45, 50 seconds if you don't get it, because you have to like spawn that fly pad again. So it's pretty punishing. I remember what it was in any percent. Like any percent, we used to not have very good setups for these tricks.
Well,
actually,
time.
Talk about that after. It's twinkly time. Yeah, so it's kind of like time.
If you don't look at the problem, it never happens. So we just keep the camera off the twinklies so they can get to the tree, and then come back once the last twinkly's coming and to get in.
It's like you don't watch a pot of boiling water, you know?
It's like, yeah, the Strozinger's light bulb. Is it alive or is it dead? Dead. Yeah. Bad timing.
You guys can talk for a bit.
Now we're just going to hop around and push buttons.
Oh. Sorry about that. I said to myself I was going to get a selfie in Twinklies, and then I forgot about it until right then. So there's this trick called Yellow Star coming up. I'm not going to do it because it's dumb. But basically, you just gotta like
throw it, and then land in it.
Yeah, you're supposed to like beak bomb and land, and then like flutter and do some hectic ground pound stuff. World record goes for it and misses it and loses like 15 seconds. So I think I'm justified in not going for Yellow Star.
So now we're just doing a bunch of flying stuff.
You can see there the jiggy jig skips. Like you could grab that one on foot or you could grab it in flying. It's like way better to grab it in flying because you just don't get the 4.5 second cutscene.
And there's no way to sort of like risk landing before you touch the jiggy with that one.
You can. You can hit the edge of the pipe, but it's pretty uncommon.
Yeah.
Like all these flying sections that we're doing, like I've mapped out flap 5 times, beak bomb, do 2 feathers, do this, do that. So like it's pretty uncommon that you mess up the simpler ones. Unless you're doing TTC and you mess up both flying sections like I did. This jiggy is definitely one of the slowest ones in the run. The jiggy itself is actually not tangible until you break the glass, so even if we could like clip in there, it doesn't help. And I always remember from a Smasher 32's original 100% tutorial, that Christmas tree, there's 12 notes for the 12 days of Christmas.
How thoughtful.
Oh yes. Alright, we got Snowman Beak Bomb, which can be a bit dicey. Depends how well it goes. See how we go. So that's an interesting recoil. Okay, that's kind of bad to get bonked back because now I'm like further away from this snowman. But it's better than like screwing it up and landing. Good. Do a pretty clean snowman. I'm fairly happy with this. I shouldn't say that till the snowmen are actually done, but yeah. There we go. Alright. Heck yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm aiming for Mumbo's door there. If I get in, it does that, so that's what I wanted. But if you lose, you like tumble. Can you reconnect me with chat there? So we see the first of many transformations in this game. This is our friend the Walrus. It's good at sledding. That's about all it's good for. A couple things about mechanics in this game. So you'll notice every time I turn around, I'm pretty much jumping. The reason for that is when you turn, you like lose a bit of speed, but if you like jump, you go back to full speed immediately. It's a little bit of a trade-off with the Walrus actually, because jumping can cause lag with the water stuff. So I tend to only jump in the water if like it's a not laggy area. It's a bit of a weird trade-off. We got the sled race here. Now I'm going to do something called footnotes, which is a really silly strat. Hopefully I don't mess it up. So I'll get it and then I'll explain it. Alright, so it's good. I've got it there. Now, basically what happens, you see Boggy talking to you saying like, come on, speed up, you can do better. If you get too far behind Boggy, he actually just like gives up the race and he's like, this is boring. So what can happen when you're getting the footnotes is like you don't get the footnotes fast enough and then you just fail the race, even though you could have caught back up to him in theory. And this race can be pretty sketchy because we're getting a whole bunch of stuff in front of him. The reason we're getting it in the race is because like you move faster during the race. But sort of the tense part about getting it in the race is, well, you could lose. The good thing about Boggy is he like rubber bands, so by actually slowing down to get all this extra stuff, making it a little bit easier because he like slows down to let you catch up. But this bit's always the worst bit, getting these 3 notes. It's pretty scary.
Oh no.
Now I'm actually a little bit behind where I normally would be, so normally I should have got 2 of those 4 notes up there, but I decided not to because like I don't want to lose the race and miss like 50 seconds. Cheers, Seagull. We have our Walrus who likes to discriminate if you're not also a Walrus.
Can't believe they put racism in this game.
Yeah, if you're like Banjo, he just won't give you the jiggy. Little side tangent. Xbox is fun. There's this glitch called DDA where you can like escape out of a demo. So if you ever look at the Xbox any % run, it's like half an hour versus N64, which is like 1 hour. And part of the reason is this glitch called DDA where you escape the demo. So with Xbox, you start the run in Rusty Bucket Bay, which is really cool. And then you just go around and do your any % stuff. But you can't actually get 100% on the DDA file because for some reason it isn't actually there when you do the DDA glitch. Our theory is because they use the same file for the stop and stop cutscenes at the end of the game. They have to take Wazza out for those, so that's why he's not there. But it's a bit of a shame because if you could use DDA, Xbox 100% would be pretty fast. But yeah, if you've only ever watched N64 runs of this game, definitely check out Xbox because the fact that the notes save opens up some really, really cool routing. And a lot of levels are like 2 trips, 1 trip with Banjo and the other with the B. Nope. We have the little scarf notes here. I like the color coding, how it's like yellow and red on yellow and red. Well, it does kind of make them hard to see.
That definitely triggered you when we were doing the randomizer.
Yeah, I know. Me and Seagull did a rando run the other day. It was my first time doing a randomizer and versus Seagull who doesn't run BK. So there was like that balancing happening. We're actually pretty close, aren't we?
Relatively.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing was that you were able to do the grunty fight without getting the beak bomb one.
Oh, yes. Ground pound grunty is always fun. So I'm also going to set up for a little death warp here. I want to be 2 health down. So I'm currently at full health. I'd like to lose 2. For marathon safety, I probably should just lose 1, which I might do. But one of the health I'll lose is here, and then the other one I normally lose is on the igloo. So there's all these like big trade-offs that you can have in the game. like with the death warping, it's definitely faster to lose the second health, like just in this bit right here. But it can make you like screw up the run. So, you know, you got to be careful with these strats in Banjo. We have Boggy's sad children. He said he was going to go out and get them presents, and then he sort of just like took off and started racing other walruses on sleds. He's not like a great dad, to be honest.
Not a very good role model.
And then what's he doing in Tui? He's just like watching TV or something?
He's like, yeah.
Watching Mr. Pants. Alright, I'm going to get the footnotes again on the other foot this time. This is a little bit scary. Oh, wow, okay. I thought for sure I'd screwed that up, but luckily it was okay. The other thing that I'll mention about that text box at the start of Boggy is you'll notice that I actually read through the whole text box. That is one of the very rare cases where you can't, well, you shouldn't skip a text box. So back on all like the old cheat sites back in the day, you could read like, you can press the L, R, and B buttons to skip text in this game, which if you know like what an N64 controller looks like, that's very difficult to do. But basically, it's going to save you a whole bunch of time skipping text. But with the Boggy race there, because he wants you to press the A button to confirm that you want to race him, if you skip the text, then it just doesn't start the race. The other text box like that is vile.
Jiggy, and then we're out.
Now here, behind this glass, is the elusive ice key, except for the fact that I've actually got the ice key on this game. Normally there's a big key spinning around there, and it's supposed to clue you into Stop and Swap. Stop and Swap was like a little cut feature where they were going to transfer all data between like all the different Rareware games, but it didn't end up working out. What they wanted you to do was like rip out your cartridge and put in another one within like 5 seconds or something, and Nintendo said no. And it was recently found that it wasn't just going to connect Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie, it was actually going to connect a whole bunch of games, like basically all the Rare games. So it would have been cool if it actually worked out. They tried to put Stop and Swap back in the Xbox version, but it was... You unlock like gamer picks and stuff for Xbox, and I'm fairly sure that wasn't the original intention with Stop and Swap. So what could it have unlocked, we just don't know.
Well, I imagine it would have unlocked the couple of things that they had unlocked by the Banjo-Kazooie cartridges.
Yeah, probably something like that.
But obviously there was more eggs and keys.
Yeah, they show you like 2 eggs and a key in the credits, but there's actually 6 eggs all up. It's weird. Alright, time to explain the funkiest trick. So we're about to do something called a big clip. So big clips were originally found by somebody called Falcon, who did them accidentally in Tui. And they're applicable to Kazooie as well. So after Falcon found it, I did some digging in Kazooie and found out they were possible as well and sort of how they work. So the floor is made up of triangles. Triangles like touch each other, so like the floor is solid, except occasionally when the 2 triangles are meeting. Like there are some floors in this game where they didn't line up the triangles at all, and there's literally like a gap in the triangle that you can see. But on most triangles, well, maybe like 1/3 of all floor triangles in the game, just due to like rounding and stuff, there's gaps. So yeah, rounding's important. So what we're about to do is a floating point precise trick. So if I can get this trick first. This is a pain to get this. So I'm going to swap to my big clip controller. This is a floating point precise trick. So every pixel that you see on screen, we need precision that's about 1/10,000th the size of a pixel. So it's definitely not something you're getting by feel, but we're going to do a whole bunch of funky shenanigans and pause setups. Got it. Alright, so. Wait. Turn to the right. Wait. We're going to do something called a twirly whirly when we get up here. Brilliant name. And I'm looking for a particular pause frame, which is that one. Big budge. Oh, did I? No, I screwed up setup, huh? I did, I was thinking about setup A, not setup B. That's alright, we'll try again. Yeah, so, the original, like, part of the reason they ended up getting called big clips is because I found, like, the original setup for this, which was, like, ridiculously slow. The current, it was still fast of 100%, but not by much. The current setup that I'm doing is found by Ringrush, who sort of wrote a computer program to find them. Whereas when I was finding them, I was doing them painstakingly by hand and just like doing twirly wellies for a really long time. I just shut up so I do this properly. This was the correct setup. First try pauses. There we go. Through a little tiny gap in the triangles and we're in. Yeah, so one thing I was doing with big clips is something called a punch cancel. So you like press the B and the A button again really quickly. That just sort of like inches Banjo forward like a predictable amount. But punch cancels are really tricky to get because if you're pressing B and then A, you don't know like whether or not you actually got it. Because like if you press them too quickly, you'll just jump. And if you press B and then you wait too long to press A, you'll punch for 2 frames rather than 1 frame and screw up your whole setup. So what runners do is they look at the screen, like sort of the background elements of the screen. And, you know, like the game's in a low aspect ratio, so you can see like all the pixels and stuff, how they line up. And if you see the pixels move ever so slightly, you know you got the punch cancel. But sometimes it's really hard to see whether or not you've actually got it. Luckily with that setup there, there's not too many punch cancels, so it's pretty hard to mess up Mad Monster Mansion. But there's another one called Click Lockwood Early. Now I was gonna do it in the marathon, but I've decided not to do Click Lockwood Early just because like, I don't know the setups and I would have to have like a laptop here and be like looking them up mid-run. I just don't, and I would have missed it and we would have lost a whole bunch of time. But hopefully you get the idea of what a big clip is. So with Mad Monster Mansion there, actually opening it, you have to go like 2 minutes out of your way into the lair, whereas doing that big clip takes probably like 45 seconds optimally. So I think Mad Monster Mansion Early saves like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes or something. In fact, it was actually so sought after that they had a $50 bounty on Mad Monster Mansion Early. So yeah, that got paid out when big clips were found, which was pretty cool. I'm going to try for a glitch called Napper Skip here. It's a jiggy skip again. Poop an egg. No, didn't get it. So what's supposed to happen is if you get right on the edge of the fly pad, you can sort of start Banjo off flying. And if you're flying, you don't get jiggy animations. So, yeah, you skip the jiggy jig. But the other thing that happens when you're flying is it actually warps that door for some reason onto the dining room table. Don't ask me why. That's one of those glitches we sort of don't fully understand. Basically, with Napper, if there's other objects in the room, like eggs or feathers when you grab the jiggy, all the objects sort of warp onto that fly pad. So you might actually notice when I grabbed the Napper jiggy there, I also got a Mumbo token. So we warped the Mumbo token onto the little fly pad. And if you get the jiggy skip, it also warps the door, which just saves you opening the door a little bit later. And if you do warp stuff in Napper's room on Xbox, it like crashes the game. So you got to be careful. Someone want to explain the POTS debacle with the what it sounds like?
Are we allowed to use language like that?
Oh. Yeah, don't listen too closely on what the POTS are saying. We might get a... Yeah.
Very clearly saying thank you.
Absolutely thank you, nothing else.
Depending on your mood. Yeah.
Yeah, it depends how good the run is. So apparently, everyone was always wondering, did they intentionally make it sound like the POTS are swearing at you? But apparently, they had to keep re-recording it because it sounded so much like the pots were swearing at you, and that was the one that sounded the least like they were swearing at you, so yeah, it's interesting. This game really likes you spelling the word Banjo-Kazooie. I don't know why. So I played this game for the first time when I was like 3. I definitely could not spell Banjo-Kazooie.
Do we have time for a donation?
Absolutely.
All right, we've got $15 from Skumaz that says, always a fan of having a character tragically die, in this case drown, while triumphant music plays in the background. Keep up the great work, 8-bit.
Thanks. Alright, so much like what we saw in Mumbo's Mountain, we did that jiggy skip on the ginger there. I'm going to try for a similar thing here. So basically what I'm doing is I'm waiting for like 6 of the little noises and then jumping. For some reason, this skip is a lot harder to get than the Mumbo's Mountain one. I don't exactly know why that is. Maybe I just have more practice than Mumbo's. Hopefully we get it. No. It's fine, it's 4.5 seconds.
Jig of shame.
Jig of shame. Have I got like every jig of shame in this run?
Pretty close.
So far, I think you have got every jig of shame.
This is why you just run any percent, which only has 6 jiggies. There are some jigs of shame that I like, you know, sometimes you can land on the lighthouse and grab that jiggy, but that's pretty rare. All the ones, I've got a lot of jiggers of shame though. Now the hardest part about this run is remembering the Motan pattern, so hopefully I don't forget it. I actually keep a little cheat sheet up next to me when I do runs, which just has the pattern up on there. So Motan will play the organ, but you're supposed to like watch which ones he plays and then repeat the pattern. But there's no reason you have to wait for him to play all of his notes. You can just do it if you know the pattern. Unless you're playing rando with Seagull and the pattern change.
We got the longest possible pattern.
Oh, absolutely. I saw this cool strat in Asmi's run. You like jump up there and trigger him. Yeah, it's worth mentioning, for a really long time Asmi had the record in this category. It's like a 156. And like 2 weeks ago, Thunderful got the world record. So, yeah, very active community at the moment. It's good to see. Asmi still has any percent, which I used to trade back and forth the any percent world record back in the day when it was in the 110s, but my time's a 103. The any percent record's like a 59.59. Although I'm a little bit hooked on running Banjo, prepping for this marathon, so I'm a little bit tempted to go back and run any percent after. We'll see. So this guy can be in a whole bunch of different spots, and he's in a particularly bad spot there. He can easily screw up your MMM.
That's a successful skip.
Hey, no jigs of shame that time.
Good work.
I'm going to do this camera strat here, which I don't think a lot of runners do, but I love this. It's a beautiful camera strat. Look at that straight joystick direction. I'm just going in a perfect straight line there. I don't think runners like doing that just in case the limbo hits them on the way down, but never really hits me. Ah, ooh, wee. All right, I don't want to die mid-marathon, so I'm going to get this little beehive here. That's better. These ghosts are like really awful. Usually what you can do is sort of like jump around that ghost and like not have to deal with it at all, but I'm just going to kill it here. So we're going to finish off pots, Jiggy. We never actually finished the pots before. Here. But I'm not going to get the Jiggy yet. Oh. Oh. Notes are hard to grab. And one thing that I'll mention is with the Mumbo transformations, there's a very small chance that he turns you into a washing machine. It's like a 1 in 20 chance. It's actually pretty bad because it loses 8 seconds, but for some reason I like getting it because every time I get it I seem to PB. I think I just like the meme of having the washing machine in the run so much that I'm determined to PB when it happens. There's also a smaller chance, like 1 in 40, that he tries to turn you into a T-Rex. He doesn't actually turn you into the T-Rex, he just says that he's gonna and then chickens out. So hopefully that'll happen at some point in the run, we'll see. You can see there are exactly 20 Mumbo tokens, so that was where the Mumbo token routing was very tight, and I was getting some really slow tokens leading up to this. But now that we've done this transformation, the tokens become a lot more plentiful, so I'm going to be going past some pretty quick tokens now. It's a weird route, the RBA route. Gonna get this honeycomb under the floorboard here. Now you might think, would it be a good idea to clip in as Banjo to get that honeycomb? But it's actually not tangible until you're the pumpkin. So even if you clip under the floorboards there, you wouldn't be able to get it. Although when we were playing Rando there, we had notes under there and we could like ground pound through to get them, which is pretty cool.
Well, you could. I had no idea.
Speaking of toilets, I'm gonna go.
The other big thing I had happen for Mad Monster Mansion was actually on Xbox. There were 4 notes that ended up completely being wiped out for me on my first playthrough. And it turned out to have something to do with the bottles puzzles. That the character collected them there, and because the Xbox version saved your notes, they did not come back. So it was completely unable to get 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the very painful thing about Xbox. They did patch that out actually, so that doesn't happen anymore. There's like, it's kind of elusive actually. No, I don't think anybody has a copy of the Xbox ROM before they patched that glitch out. It's like lost media. But the speedrunners really want it because, you know, what else did they patch out, we're wondering, and could it save time if we could find that version? But yeah, we still have to run on that revision on Xbox, which has that glitch patch. The other thing that's cool about the Xbox run is there's actually a way to clone notes out of levels. It's a glitch called POG. So it's a bit of a combo, like between Trep, TSR and myself, we sort of figured out how that all worked, and POG dropped 80% on Xbox from like an hour down to 30 minutes, because you only go into a handful of levels and clone the notes. But in the 80% run you need 810 notes, which is quite a bit. The other thing that is the bottleneck in 80% is this bit that I'm doing right here, the water level switch. So I have to be the pumpkin and come out of this level to sort of get into this room and hit the switch. So this room, there's no way to get into it with Banjo. Even if we could clip in, the loading zone doesn't work unless you're the pumpkin. So we have to go in as Banjo and then like hit this switch. It's the only way to get up through the rest of Grunty's lair, because otherwise you don't have enough height. Won't reset too early. And yeah, that room's so out of the way that we just reset the run and come back to the title screen.
They seem to have disabled a lot of stuff for the pumpkin between that loading zone and the honeycomb piece.
Yeah, they have, haven't they? Yeah. There's a few loading zones like that, like the beehive loading zone in Click Clock Wood will only work as the bee. But yeah, if we could find water level skip, then that would save a whole bunch of time.
Nice.
Alright, I've just had a look at the game time, and this is about like 2 or 3 minutes slower than what I'd really like a PB attempt run to be. So it's not too bad, but it's not amazing. Part of the advantage of resetting out of the water room is you get this jiggy here. Otherwise you just have to backtrack down through the lair for it. Fun fact, once you ground pound those eyes, they sort of just sit out of bounds underneath the level. One of my favorite things to do is like go out of bounds and just stand on the eyes. Or not 2 times this run, mate. We got the worst level coming up, Gobies Valley. It sucks. The thing about Gobies is it's bad. And there's this clip that you do right at the start, Jinxie clip, and if you miss the clip, you basically start losing a whole bunch of health because you're in this sand, and you could very easily die. So if I can get Jinxie clip, I'll be happy. And then after Jinxie clip, there's a whole bunch of extra hard stuff in the run that we have to do as well. So Gobies is an absolutely brutal level.
You got it in the practice room, you can do it again.
We'll see.
Sand eels biting at your heels.
Yes. So I'm sure you can see the danger there. If you're in hurty sand and you're trying to get that clip, it's not going to be too long before you just die. You get 2 shots at it. So, like, you can see that I got 2 health now. Wait, how does the math work out on that? You get 2 shots at it, basically. Maybe 3, I don't know. I'm going to try and shoot that one there, which we got. Oh, wait, no, of course it's 2 shots. So if I got it the second try, I'd be on 1 health. And if I got it third try, then I'd be dead. Oh. So yeah, Jinxie's clip is the first thing that makes Gobies Valley difficult. There's another strat coming up, Water Pyramid clip. But like sort of all over it, there's hard strats. So this one here is not too hard, but it can go horribly wrong. I'm going to flick the camera away from the top of the level. Or
Trigger it.
yeah. Oh, no, I messed up. I'll try this little jump here, but it's probably going to... Oh, cool. All right.
Nice. Back up.
Wow. Yeah, so that's a backup that you have to do, but that jump there is insanely inconsistent. Like, it's really hard. So much so that, like, part of the, I guess, the optimal 100% route is to do that jump once intentionally. I definitely don't go for that. I go for, like, a backup ring. Yeah, there's a couple different backup rings you can get. So the first ring is always there, but from that point, the rings are random until where they spawn. So if there's some rings where if they spawned in, I'd actually go for that. But if I don't get any of the backup rings, I can still just do the run normally. I just have to get one of the rings at the end. Alright, we're coming up to the memory minigame. Thankfully, these are all in the same spot unless you're playing rando.
You're not meant to tell people that.
Oh, wow. Can I remember where they all are? Or, no, can I guess where they all are? I'm doing so well. What good luck I'm having here. The way that I remember is, like, basically all the tiles are in the shape that, like, a knight makes on a chessboard. Like, if you look at those 2 honeycombs, and then the 2 banjos are in that same shape, and the 2 of the notes are in the same shape there. So once you know that, basically it's pretty straightforward to remember the board. For some reason I can always remember this one, but I can never remember the moat sand pattern. Best possible time to get on that timer is a 69. More often than not, I'll hit 68 instead. And the Taz does like a cool strat where you skip the jiggy jig in there too.
Is there time for a donation?
Yep.
Yeah, we've got $40 from Perfect Footy that says 8-bit, you're going to showcase the amazing time save of dog skip in 100% right.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Me and Nitros were practicing it in the practice room before.
It's easier than you think.
Yeah, you got it within like 5 minutes of me like explaining the setup. It was so wild. I remember when I first learned dog skip, it took me like a day to get it once. Yeah, dog skip is a little bit like TDC early. I'll explain it more when we get there, but our hard strat that saves like 10 seconds, maybe not 10, maybe like 5 seconds.
Saves a lot of seconds in any percent.
Oh yeah, because you skip 25 jiggies, Anyway, I'll explain more when I get there, but yes, I will be going for dog skip. And also, hey Footy, how you going?
Shout outs to our power runner.
So this is a Ruby the Snake Charmer. His little pink pet thing shows up in Banjo-Tooie as well as King Jingling's pet. So I'm going to get another ring here. You can see sort of the strategy for getting this. You point the camera away from the rings because they don't show up until they're actually on camera. And I just messed it up before. All right, now this is the worst bit of gobies coming up here. So I'm going to go for something called Water Pyramid Clip. There's two aspects to this trick. The first thing that has to happen is I have to not lose flying when I grab the Jiggy from Gobi, which is sort of hit and miss. Depends exactly where you hit the boulder as to whether you lose flying or not. And then after that, I've got to do like a hectic clip. And if I miss it, you lose like a whole bunch of time, like probably about 20 seconds. So I'm going to try and hit this boulder in a particular spot. It looks okay. Maybe, nah, maybe not. Oh, yeah, got it. Cool, cool. Nice. And then... Alright. And then here's the clip bit.
Nice.
Oh, cool. All
2
right.
for 2.
So surprisingly, this is actually a decent gobies. So we'll get some time back. But yeah, those are the two bits that makes gobies brutal. The Jinxie clip at the start where you could die, and then that trick where if you just hit the boulder in, like slightly off the spot where you're supposed to hit it, you just land. And you need to be in flying to do this clip here into the Water Pyramid. So yeah, I don't know the exact timings, but I'm fairly sure if you land on Gobi's boulder, you lose like 20 seconds or something, which is absolutely brutal. Gonna get another ring here, and I'm really hoping to see one of the good backup rings that I can get. So we'll see if that happens or not. If I don't get the backup ring, it's not too bad. I just get a slightly slower one. Hey, there's a backup ring. So we're going to do that like slope timer thing to get up here. And sort of jump across. There we go. Oh, that fly almost got me. Oh. Now we're going into a Ruby's maze. There's a 60-second time limit on this, so it's actually pretty tight. I'm really hoping I can make it out of the maze in time.
Always. This always scares me as a kid.
Oop. Let's try that again. Yeah, I'm
Running out of time.
Ah.
Oh.
And there we go.
Yeah.
Barely made it.
Oh, yeah, just in time. There's a couple different strats you can do there. I did sort of the slow one because I messed up the original strat I wanted to do. There's one strat that's like really consistent there, but you get a laggy camera angle, so it's slightly slower. Or there's like another one where you just like go for it. Now I'm going to do a quick dive here, but if you do this quick dive too well, you actually take damage from the sand down here. It's really weird to see it happen. Because the water's supposed to like extinguish the sand. But yeah, you can still get hurt by the sand if you touch the floor while you're not in swimming. And again, we sort of planned out the whole level route so that we're getting this Jinjo last. We always want to end on a Jinjo where we can skip the Jiggy Dance. Alright, now we're going to just torment Gobi a little bit more. How much health do I have? 4, good.
Oh,
Poor Gobi.
draining them.
It's actually so cruel.
Hope you don't do it again.
Yeah, imagine if we just kept chasing Gobi around and tormenting him. Actually, shout out to a runner called Mittens. Me and Mittens, well, we ran this category as a meme called All Camels. And basically, you just got to find Gobi across both games and just keep tormenting him and like do every Gobi event that you possibly can find. So All Camels is a super fun run because you play both Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie. And yeah, that grab a jiggy there, you're supposed to get it in running shoes, which is why the running shoes music started when I grabbed the jiggy. But if you just beak bomb into him, beak bomb's also fast, so you grab the jiggy. Wait, there we go. That jump to the pyramid there is the other hard part about doing the strat where you like clip through the top of the pyramid. It looks easy, but like it's very easy to screw up. And we're going to set up for a spooky death warp here. Feeling pretty confident about it, but it can go wrong. Alright, so we're on 1 health. I'm just going to jump over the sand that will kill us if we land in it. No worries. So that's a spooky bit getting across that. Yeah, Gobi. Tormenting him.
He's off to Tui.
He is. And then you die. Now, you might be wondering, 8-bit, why don't you just come in with 2 health and make the death warp consistent in a marathon? Well, if I come in with 2 health, that last honeycomb that I get restores all my health, and then I would have to sit in the sand losing 8 health for the death warp, which would be very slow. So you can't even do the baby strats and come in with 2 health there, because you have to be on 1. Fun fact about that little room I was just in, for some reason, most rooms run at 30 frames per second. That room runs at 20 frames per second. Like, it's just hard-coded to do that. I don't know why. Try and flutter cancel in that room, you won't be able to. Now we're coming into my favourite level, and probably everyone else's least favourite level, Rusty Bucket Bay. We got donations or anything? We got a bit of time.
Yeah, we have a $15 donation from Hedwig, which says, "Hey 8-bit, welcome, awesome to see you do Banjo and Yuka back to back." And at the moment, we've also got a donation match happening as well. So we've got up to $3 grand from a bear with a shotgun. So that's also happening at the moment.
Hedwig is like a legendary ukulele speedrunner. Shoutouts to Hedwig. I might do this baby strat here. I'm gonna poop egg there. You'll see why. Figure I'd rather not die in Rusty Bucket Bay.
Yeah, just don't do it in engine room. Would be preferred.
Yeah, so you saw there I was like raising the water level up more. There's a few switches you need to hit. So currently it's on water level 2. This is the highest we need to raise the water level. And you need to do that to get to Click Clockwood. But with the Xbox run, since you can do any % starting in Rusty Bucket Bay, you can skip all that pumpkin stuff. Alright. Now these chompers are scary because they take 2 health when they hit you. Actually, in 90% you do this level as the B, and you can't get any more health as the B, and you have 5 health, so yeah, you can imagine how bad that is with all the chompers in this level. And this room here is the one of the hardest rooms in the run, but also one of my favorite rooms in the run, engine room.
I'd say it's one of the hardest rooms, even if you're just playing it normally.
Yeah. Feel free to take over if you want guys explaining, because I'll need to shut up for this one.
So there's like several blades in this room that normally you would be going and hitting some switches to slow down or stop. But in this case, 8-bit is going to just take damage and then jump through the fans. A lot of runs have died to this trick, so here's the lineup. He made the first one.
Yeah, as long as you come in perpendicular to the fans, you like rarely die, but it is still very scary.
And of course, falling off at any point kills you immediately, wipes your notes.
Nice. And so got the blades off in the water. And we're going to clip through the glass window here, which saves a lot of time. And deaf.
Yeah, it just removes half the difficulty of getting out of this room.
It's so good.
That's the switch you're meant to hit beforehand to slow the blades down.
Yeah.
Which I believe is also on a timer.
I haven't hit that switch in years.
Forget how it works.
Even if you if you hit it, the fans go like fast, slow, fast, slow, fast, slow, so it gives you like a window to jump through them. But it actually is kind of hard to get through them, even when you've slowed them down. So if I ever try and do this game like glitchless or something, sometimes I actually mess it up, having them slowed down. Now, we're in oily water here, which drains your air twice as quickly, but also if you're on the surface of the water, normally, like in normal water, you restore your air as soon as you surface. But in oily water, your air still depletes while you're on the surface. So, yeah, scary air situation here. Oh. Because I screwed up the movement here, I'm going to take some safety air on this box here. But yeah, I could still drown right now, because I wasn't on the surface. Usually you just swim over here, but I wasn't about to die.
We're going to break the rules and pay no tolls.
Yeah. Yeah, we skipped the toll gate there by doing that slope stuff. It's a similar concept to what happened in Ticker's Tower before.
Don't let the transport department know about this.
It's like a cool thing with the toll gates. Like, you have to pay a different amount of eggs into each toll gate. And like, that's the biggest one, toll 8 there. The toll 2 gate, you can like pay 2 eggs into, but then if you keep spinning more eggs, it like comes out further. So it's a cool little feature.
When I learned that as a kid, the first thing I did was went around to all the other ones and paid extra in them to see what would happen.
And wasted all your eggs.
Yep.
Nice jump.
That jump. Alright, so I pointed the camera away from the direction I was going. That makes it so that you can't actually see what you're doing, but it saves like a tiny bit of time on lag. So yeah, gotta do
See
it.
if we can do this boom bop skip.
Yeah, so you're supposed to fight this guy, but you can just like sort of
Get the
knock
jiggy before he starts the cutscene. And you're out.
That fight's quite hard to do casually.
And very time consuming.
Yeah, if you ever run into it casually, just like make sure you have enough gold feathers and just like use those. That's what I'd recommend. Also, like Boombox, I guess as a kid is how I learned about exponential growth. Like he starts off as 1 and then becomes 2. Like each time you break one of the boxes, it splits into 2 boxes. So as a kid, I would just go, oh, I'm gonna go for the biggest box, and then like I would get all the little ones spawned and then just die. As an adult, I understand. Go for the smallest box so that you don't spawn a whole bunch. This room's scary because these guys can hit you as well.
Oh, and you went.
Nobody saw that.
Oh, I say it every time you mention the wall enemies, but at least they're not the vents.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to explain those, Seagull?
So the vents are a beta enemy. It's actually not used anywhere in the game. But if you're playing a randomizer, or quite often a ROM hack, they'll take the place of the wall chompers or the birds. And they're very nasty. They give no indication that they're about to fire a blast of steam that then knocks you off whatever platform you're on and deals damage.
Yeah, normally I get upset when they take out beta stuff in games because I'm like, oh, that would have been cool. But having actually played ROM hacks and randos with events, I'm like, yeah, I'm so glad they took those vents out.
Here's a point that we're avoiding not doing boat jump. Very risky time loss that you would only go for in world record runs if you wanted to save a few seconds. You would usually jump to that lifeboat from where the switch is pushed and jump to the jiggy. But we've seen that in previous runs with 8-bit. It's not easy, so opted to do it the long way.
Yeah, I've been having like a little PB curse over the last couple of weeks preparing for ASM. Like, my PB is a 2:04, so it's about 8 minutes behind record. the 204 that I have doesn't use any of those big clips, like what we saw to get into Mad Monster Mansion, and that's in theory like a 2-minute time save. So I keep doing runs, and I'm like, well, I should at least be able to go to 202 in theory, but I just haven't PB'd, which has been a bit of a bummer, but it is what it is. I wouldn't want to PB just by like 5 seconds or something, knowing that I should be able to save 2 minutes though, so there are some runs that I've thrown in. But yeah, part of my grinding was like a day where I had 2 really good runs, both of which lost like 30 seconds to missing that lifeboat jump. Hence, I've decided not to go for it. Got a few more little lag reduction strategies here. This level is quite laggy, so we're going to point the camera right. For some reason, the right side of this level is just less laggy, so... Particularly during jiggy jigs is where you really want to have the camera pointing in a good direction to reduce lag. Hopefully I can remember the code here, we'll see. Try and get Rocket Banjo, it's a cool little glitch. No. Sometimes when a cutscene starts, if you like ground pound, when you ground pound you get like a bunch of upwards velocity. And like if you get that on the frame that the cutscene starts, the game doesn't then follow it up with the actual ground pound action, and Banjo just shoots up in the air like a rocket. It's really funny to see. I'll try and get it if I get another opportunity anyway. Also, you can crash the game in this room if both enemies hit you at the same time. Ooh. Bit of downtime here, so if we've got any donations, go for it.
Yeah, we've got $7 from TSR Stormed, which says, Banjo-Kazooie is such a scary run to showcase during a marathon, and it's incredible to see that you accepted the task. It's awesome to see all the Xbox love coming your way, as the platform is very underappreciated. Best of luck to you.
Nice, thanks TSR. TSR is an absolute legend in the Banjo community. He's found so many glitches. Actually, like, that's something I should mention. Like, a big aspect of what I do in Banjo is more of like the glitch hunting and tazzing side of things. So I've done an 80% taz. It's about 15 minutes long because we can just bit clip like everywhere. And like found a whole bunch of glitches. I thought that I had found like a lot of the glitches and like scoured everything. And then like TSR's come into the community just like finding new stuff like every week. It's absolutely insane. A lot of what TSR's managed to find like is like a lot of Xbox menu shenanigans that led to a pause overlap glitch and stuff. But TSR's also recently found some cool stuff with the bottles bonus puzzles. So yeah, there's a weird difference on the Japanese version of this game where we might be able to break out of the bottles bonus puzzle, but we haven't actually got it properly working yet.
Jig of shame.
Nah, there we go.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Saved it.
So that's a little strat similar to what I did at the end of Treasure Trove Cove. If you're jumping out of the water, the game still thinks Banjo's swimming. Like, it isn't until you land on the ground, or I think maybe if you do a flutter, that the game will want to give you a jiggy jig. So, yeah, by jumping out of the water and not touching the ground, by touching the jiggy first, you skip the jiggy dance there.
Okay.
Worst enemy in the game here. Hope I don't die.
Oh no.
Oh no, I died.
At least you didn't drown
Oh,
afterwards. Would have been time loss.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a really good point. The drowning animation is a lot slower than the normal dying animation.
And just more horrific.
Oh yeah, it's brutal watching Banjo drown.
After dying from falling.
Banjo, when he drowns, he like floats up a little bit. So if you drown right underneath the surface of water, you can actually like save yourself and come back to life. Also, I'm going to go for a really stupid trick here. It's called 640 skip. This is slower than just going up and opening the 640 note door, but I really like an 8%, so I want to show it off. So yeah, the 640 note door is right there, just in front of where I am now. There it is. You can see it.
Fun to go out of bounds.
I could open it. But why would you open it when you could just do this?
There you go.
There we go.
And he's in.
Yeah.
Entirely pointless.
Yeah,
right
completely pointless in this category, but I really like it. I don't know how much slower it is, but it's definitely slower than just opening it. But we have to do 640 skip in any percent, because we don't have the 640 notes. This jump is the worst.
Yeah, this leaf is a pain.
I don't know why they put the leaf at that particular height. Like, I don't know if they actually want you to be able to jump up there or they want you to like fall down onto the leaf. You can't make the high jump, it's just brutal. Alright, so this is the thing where I could have gone for Click Clock Wood early. Basically at this point, you would still have to hit this pad and you would do all like the hectic twirly-whirly setups and everything off there, but you're not going to enjoy watching me fail it for like 5 minutes straight.
I would, but I'm a terrible person.
And Click Clock Wood early, I haven't done the exact timings, but I'm fairly sure it only saves like 20 seconds if you do it like perfectly. And I looked at my gold split for Click Clock Wood early, and like I'm pretty slow at big clips because I haven't done much practice. Like they're still a fairly new trick. So like I don't think I could even save time with Click Clock Wood early with how quickly I do big clips. But yeah, the thing to mention about those big clip setup, like what I did in Mad Monster Mansion before, trying to hit that particular pause frame. Like with Click Clock Wood early, Ring Rush found 3 different setups for like 3 different pause frames that you could hit. So you aim for the middle one, but if you are like a frame off either side, you just do the different setup. So technically it's a frame perfect trick if you want to think of it like that, but we just have different setups if we don't hit the frame. Although sometimes I don't hit one of those 3 frames.
So you would either die or you would get out your PowerPoint and work out which setup to use.
Yeah, when I do Click Clock Wood early, I have to have my laptop there with like all the little cheat cue card things, just watching what you got to do. But yeah, Click Clock Wood early, I do in 80% runs, because it saves 15 jiggies over opening Click Clock Wood. But in 100%, it's not really worth it, unless you're going for like world record. I think probably like if I go back to any percent and get good at Click Clock Wood early, I would probably do it when I come back to 100%, but not now, not in the marathon. So yeah, Click Clock Wood's a fun level. It's got 4 different seasons. This is actually how I learnt the seasons as a kid, by playing this game. And you got to go through all 4. You think it's going to be like a really chill level. It's like nice and comfy, it's a forest. But it's probably the hardest level. Maybe this or Rusty Bucket Bay.
Gotta remember to feed Eerie,
Oh yes.
otherwise you'll be down a jiggy.
I definitely felt that this started to set up for what Banjo-Tooie was going to become, with the moving between different levels.
Yeah, you can tell this was like one of the later levels they made because of all the polish on it. Gonna jump around the birds here. It's kind of a silly strat, but saves time. And the birds grow every season, so jumping around them in spring is really easy. Jumping around them in summer is hard but worth it, and jumping around them in autumn is actually slower based on like how wide a turn you have to take to jump around them. And more often than not, if you jump around them in autumn, you will just die, like fall off the tree. But yeah, every season has a switch like this, so I've just opened up summer now. So you do have to play the level linearly. And it's like a really cool level, it's all connected. So I'm gonna hatch Eerie now. But then like, you just hatch this little bird and you just make it grow throughout all the seasons. This game's just so like wholesome, it's wonderful.
You make it grow by murdering caterpillars.
Yes.
That was me at 2 AM this morning.
Alright, I'm gonna do a silly strat here. Surprise, surprise. I'm gonna hit this beehive here. Then, the bees are gonna hit me during this cutscene. That allows Banjo to sort of move. And then, now I just save time, because I'm already over here. So optimal. Saving those valuable frames. And yeah, that's called Spring Clip. If you have enough downward speed on a slope, you can just like clip straight through it. It only works on a slope that looks like that. I guess I did it for 640 skip as well, now that I think about it. It's also similar to the FPLE that we saw before. But yeah, Spring Clip there just saves you a bit of time from walking back to the start. And you might be wondering if you play this game casually, like, oh, didn't you just die? Like, why didn't you lose all your notes? It's sort of like a difference between what we call a death versus a void out. If you just go out of bounds, it looks like a death, but Banjo doesn't die or lose his health or anything like that. And it doesn't take your notes. But if you void out, well, I might not actually jump around those, that was a bit sketchy. If you void out and you have 0 lives, you will get a game over, even though it doesn't take a life when you void out, which is a really weird mechanic. Oops. Yeah, this fight's hard, but you just sit with gold feathers, it's fine. There's actually a little bit of RNG to that fight as to how quickly the bees hit you. Now I'm going to do a little trick here to avoid full damage to get down. So I'm going to ground pound there. In the ground pound recoil, you're actually invincible, like from pretty much everything, including full damage.
Let's go, B.
So that's just a way to get down really quickly without taking damage. You can also use it to avoid things like the ghosts in that church from Mad Monster Mansion. Sometimes that ground pound recoil through those so they don't hurt me. And in the final battle, Grunty fires that thing that's like supposed to never miss, that green like fireball thing. But you're supposed to gold feather through it. That's how you deal with it. Or you can just ground pound recoil through it. And this is Naughty. Naughty needs to get in his house, so we let him in the house. This is the only season where you can do it because the water's low and you can actually break that rock. But the slope is too steep to climb, so you can't actually get up there for him to properly thank you. So you have to come back to Naughty's in like autumn, and then he gives you like a jiggy and some notes and stuff. But then you also need to come back in winter because there's a honeycomb there too. And you can grab the jiggy in winter as well if you want. So yeah, we'll be visiting Naughty's house a lot, but the first step there is just to break the boulder in summer so that you can let him in. You can break the Naughty's boulder in all the other seasons. You can just like poop eggs through the water to break it. I guess you can't break it in winter. No, you could. Never mind. Anyway, you can break Naughty's boulder in the other seasons, but I can't remember the exact details, but I'm not sure if it works properly if you break it there. And it's slower anyway. I think TSR, along with his glitch hunting skills, found some other weird version differences with Naughty. It's one of those... it's one of those ones that they like patched out. They like knew about back in 1998 and patched stuff out. Alright. This is a bit scary, this jiggy, so I'm going to let the camera fully reset itself. So this jiggy, as a kid, I always thought that you had to do it like this in summer. But when you come back to this area in the later seasons, it's like more and more built up every time, like the path gets more complete. And if you come to that house in autumn, the house is just fully built. You just like walk over to the jiggy. But the house is ever so slightly more out of the way in autumn. So of course we do the risky, crazy jump across the gap. Alright, we're going to feed Eerie again. A few funky things that can happen with Eerie. So there's this one particular spot that you can stand that soft locks the game for some reason. Like Banjo feeds the first caterpillar and it locks him into the cutscene, but then he moves out of the way and then you can't feed him anymore. There's also this other spot that you can stand where when Eerie clonks his head down like this, it just pushes Banjo through the nest and he like falls through. The Taz actually stands in that spot and gets pushed through the nest because it wants to fall down afterwards. And we're just going to get a little caterpillar for him in autumn. And yeah, Eerie is becoming a big boy, so we're going to like feed him more caterpillars in autumn than we did summer. Probably a bit of downtime here if we got donations.
We don't at the moment, but I can mention that we have a number of prizes to give away for those who donate. So anyone within Australia who donates at least $10 will automatically go into the running to win one of our Steam game bundles. We currently have 5 different bundles available to win, and for all the information, head on over to prizes.ausspeedruns.com.
These snare bears are like really notorious playing this game casually. Use gold feather through them like it's fine, but this level's pretty tight on gold feathers. Like I needed them for the Zubba fight before with those bees, and I also need them for the snare bears. The snare bears. So yeah, with the snare bears, they got like really weird hitboxes. You can just stand on the back of them and not get hurt at all, which I might actually show off in a second. Also, I should be ground pounding Gobi right here, who's next to this plant. Gobi would feed the plant and spawn a Jiggy on top of it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do another really silly strat called softlock strat, which I'll talk about a bit later. But yeah, here with the snare bears, I just like won't get hurt if I'm standing on the back of them like that, so you can just like do whatever you want there. You do still need the gold feathers to grab the notes, because the notes are sort of more in the middle of the snare bear. You will get hurt if you try and grab the notes without them. Alright, now I'm in Naughties again. So there's notes and a Jiggy in here. Now, I could grab the Jiggy now, but Autumn is really laggy, so I'm going to grab it instead in Winter. And the way that we route out Winter, we are actually going to get the Jiggy in flying. Yes, we're going to be flying in Naughties. But yeah, so that's why we get it in Winter. But if you're picking up this game for the first time, I would like 100% recommend getting Naughties Jiggy in Autumn, because it's a lot easier to just walk into it than it is to fly into it out of bounds. These birds are also a little bit weird. They'll deal 2 damage when they come out. Like, they're a smidge inconsistent in exactly how they come out. Like, it depends a lot on your precise positioning, so yeah, they're spooky. There's some strat where you can like run under these birds here, but I don't do it. I just like wait for them to come out. And this is the bit where I was like jumping around the birds in spring and summer, but in autumn the birds have like grown too much that you can't really do that. Alright, next up we have the Nabnut section. Nabnut is not a very smart squirrel. He like ate all of his acorns in spring and summer, having a grand old time, and then went like, oh crap, I don't have any for when I'm hibernating in winter. So we gotta go and grab all the acorns for him now. A lot of runners call them the bad hit detection acorns. I don't know why. On a side note, they have really bad hit detection. So yeah, this one in particular here in the middle is awful. See what I mean? That? Yeah. And then if you don't get it, you lose like 15 seconds because you got to come back around. I love 100%. Such a great category. Alright. My backup is sort of to get it from that angle, and that usually works. Also, like at any time in Click Luck Wood, you could just get like hit by something and fall off the tree, which does make it a really scary level.
This is also stealing the acorn that he already has.
Yeah, true. Yeah, maybe he can't reach that shelf, who knows? Yes, he's very happy to give him the acorns. One thing I'll mention, like, you can play as the washing machine in this game by doing the bottles bonus puzzles. The washing machine's actually quite fast because it doesn't do any jiggy jigs. Part of the reason we don't... I guess it's like a rules debate as to whether or not it's a cheat, but another part of the reason we don't is because the washing machine doesn't have hands. So, like, for example there, you wouldn't be able to actually feed Nabnut his acorns. It would just sort of stand there and not do anything. And there's other things that don't work as a washing machine as well, like you can't ride Boggy's sled and you can't break the Bubble Gloop Swamp Egg. It's pretty much something in every level you can't do as a washing machine. Alright. The other factor about getting washing machines is like a 4 or 5 minute detour. Oh. Right. I've done like a really particular camera setup there because the Eerie cutscene is incredibly laggy. If you just point it any which way, it might take like 5-10 seconds longer. I also just love eerie growing. Like, I wish animals actually grew like this so that you could see them in real time, just get real big.
Thicker.
There's a big bird. I also want to know who gave him the nappy as well. Like, is it a mum bird that gave him the nappy? Why does a bird need a nappy anyway?
Well, you're going to find out when he leaves in winter.
Oh, that's true. Who removed his nappy between autumn and winter? So many questions. Alright, now Mumbo's skull is really out of the way. So I'm just going to do a big clip casually to get out. This is the same concept as to what happened in Mad Monster Mansion, but it's a lot easier to do this one. Watch me screw it up now. So I got a big barge and duck. Ducking lets you slide forward like a little bit. I got a bear punch and duck. Banjo like dips over a little bit clip spot there. 5 punch cancels. There we go.
See, now that one's weird because it started playing the death music.
And I lost a life too. But if you do... So I did actually die there. But the fact that we voided out sort of overrides the death, and then you don't lose your notes. And actually, it's really convenient because now I've fully restored my health as well by doing that. You actually have to ground pound to get through there. So the way big clips work, like... The way big clips work, you're going through a very tiny hole in the ground. And if you just sort of dip over that hole, Banjo will come back out. Like, the hit detection's good. Like, it won't let you just fall through the hole. Unless you're moving fast enough. If you're moving fast enough, you can get through the hole in 1 frame. I like to think of Banjo's collision as like beads, like a necklace. Like, each frame, Banjo's thick. But between frames, he's like a thin line that's like 1 unit big.
Did you want to mention about better flying and better swimming? I don't think it's in the manual by default. Something.
What? What was that?
That's.
Thank goodness I just restored my health with that big clip.
That was a close one.
That was a bit cheeky. Yeah, this game's great. Stuff like that just happens. Yeah, to fly and swim better, you gotta hold the R button. It makes, like, if you've ever played this game casually, remember my
Swimming and flying sucks.
hold R while you're swimming and flying. You'll thank me later. The other thing about big clips, so I was saying, like, you need a lot of speed to get through the ground. This game runs at 30 frames a second on NTSC and 25 frames a second on PAL. So actually on PAL you need less speed to get through a ground on a big clip. On NTSC you have to use a ground pound to get through, but on PAL if you're in like a TAS setting, if you do a jump very precisely and get a lag frame, you can actually get through the ground on PAL without ground pounding, which means that you can then just like do flutters and stuff and ground pounds and like go around walls. So big clips in RTA and on NTSC are for vertical clips. Yeah, big clips are for like vertical clips in RTA, but in a TAS setting, if you play on the PAL version, big clips can get you through walls like horizontally because you just flutter underneath and ground pound. So what the TAS does is a whole bunch of big clips, and like they skip pretty much all the note doors, including the 810 note door with big clips. It's really cool to see. Unfortunately, the TAS that I made for this game isn't on TAS videos because we had to use some hacks to get Banjo in the position for big clips. It's just too inconsistent to TAS it manually. But yeah, it's on YouTube. That bit's always terrible. You have to flutter back in the window and I never get it. So yeah, the fun thing about this game is it's like swap between PAL and NTSC, which is like the fastest version. Obviously being Australian, like I'm always very happy whenever PAL is the fastest version. And PAL is the fastest for TAS, but not RTA. Yeah. Now this guy can snipe you with the snowball here. There he goes. Alright, now this is the hectic bit I was talking about before. I left Naughty's Jiggy till now, which is pretty risky. Whoa. Hey, there we go. Yeah, if you land, it's very bad. And you got to clip out. It's a tense section of the run.
Oh,
Ooh.
landed.
No, I just wanted to show you what happens if you miss the clip, that's all. Alright. So if you miss the clip, you gotta do a different clip.
Another
this
water
is-
clip.
Yeah, this is icy water, so similar to Rusty Bucket Bay, it takes your air twice as fast. And I can't just surface here, there's like ice all over the top. This section is super scary. But if you swim at this corner in exactly the right way, then you get out.
Nice.
Yeah. I like leaving the camera out of bounds a little bit there, it's fun. Yeah, so you just do that if you don't get an naughty clip, but it does lose you probably like 20-30 seconds. The actual intended method to get out of naughties, there is a hole in the ice that you're supposed to swim up through, but the hole's like the complete other direction compared to where we want to go, so it's slower. Alright, I'm going to do a stupid, silly, dumb strat. It's called softlock strap. I used to not go for it, but since then, they've got a new setup which is a lot more consistent for me. It's very sound-based, so I will shut up when I'm doing it, but can somebody turn up my game audio just a smidge there, maybe to like 50? So I know that like blindfolded, oh that's too high, yeah, just half as much. I know like blindfolded speedrunners do this like on the daily, but I'm not a blindfolded speedrunner. Basically, we're not supposed to get this cutscene here. And if we do, it softlocks Banjo. But we can just get the beast to hit us. We get movement. All right. Hopefully I get into Mumbo's skull. Oh, good guys? Yeah, I missed it. All right, so there's a couple backups. That backup didn't work. I'm sure now you can see why I used to not go for this in runs. It's kind of a silly strat. Oh, jeez. Oh, I actually don't know where I am. It's fine. Now we got time for the estimate.
Hey, nice backup. That's wild.
It's impressive when you get it first go, but honestly, it's more impressive that you were able to save it.
I've got them all written down on my little whiteboard there. That whiteboard's actually for writing down the tipped up quiet pattern in Click Clock Wood, but I ended up using it to write down all my softlock setups as well. Yeah, the night before I left for Adelaide to get here, I did like one more run and failed softlock strap. And at that point, before I did that run, I'd been getting softlock every time, so I hadn't bothered to learn the backups at all. And then when I failed it, I'm like, no, I've got to learn the backups to the marathon. That's pretty silly to go in without knowing.
Look out.
Yeah. Softlock strat saves like 15 seconds or something, I think. It's pretty hectic. This is my favorite part of the run because it sort of reminds me of any percent a bit because you use the B. So we're just going to go get a whole bunch of jiggies. I'm going to do the RBA clip. So this is the NTSC method here. You go up on the door. What?
Yeah, that's
What the heck?
fun one to do, isn't it?
Ooh.
Sometimes you just have to... Yep, there you go.
And avoid it out, yeah. So yeah, if you... it's not just getting the clip, because like you could just match and get it very easily. It's getting the clip without flying out of bounds after you get it.
Okay, nice.
It's funny, like, coming from the jiggy, like, in 100%, I can't do it. Coming from the door just then, like, in any percent, every time. It's weird. So yeah, a lot of these rooms that you're not supposed to get the bee into, like the bee's not supposed to be here. A lot of these rooms just don't have roofs because they weren't expecting anything with flying to be in there. So you just fly over the roof. And the reason I had to fly over the roof there is you can't get through the water plane as a bee. Like the bee would just bunk off the top and not want to swim through it. Alright, we're going to go for eye jiggy here. You can get stuck in the eye, and it is quite bad if you get stuck into the eye because it's quite hard to get out. And it just happens sometimes when you go into the jiggy.
Nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
I got
you're
stuck in the eye. I told you that would happen.
Just gonna
There
spam
we go.
out.
Alright. I recently found that little setup to get out of the eye fairly quickly, but if you don't know that, you can spend like minutes trying to get out of the eye. It's pretty bad. There's also like the camera in this room is quite janky here, so I've not got the camera I wanted. That's the Gobi jiggy there. But yeah, the camera. Oh, the
Goes
camera.
all over the place.
It's not good. There
It's
we go.
almost like you're not meant to be flying in this room.
Yeah, I know, right?
I like
They
this
just walk through
jiggy.
paths, yeah. The bee's skinny. It must not have eaten many caterpillars. And we got bubble gloop early here. So this one is very easy to like fly out the top instead of flying through, but if you just do that, you're usually okay. Alright, so that saved 70 seconds clipping into bubble gloop, because that's how long it takes to open it as Banjo. But you lose some of the 70 seconds here, because we don't really want to be the bee right now, because the bee can't do much in here. So the first thing we're going to do is go and de-transform, and then just die, and then do the level normally as Banjo. When I first was doing the RBA route, I was trying really hard to like find ways to make the bee useful in Bubble Gloop Swamp before we turn back into Banjo, but it just nothing worked out. I couldn't make it faster. So it's kind of boring. We just fly here and then do the level normally, but it's fast, so. Part of the reason why the RBA route is fast is obviously that section there with Bubble Gloop Swamp where you skip opening it, which takes 70 seconds. The other reason this route is so fast is because you're getting all those jiggies really quickly as a bee. Oop. Was not supposed to peck there. And that wasn't super obvious there, but I was doing like a little trick shot off screen there where you're supposed to hit that Croctus without seeing where it is. And this level really likes to remind you how good or bad you are, because you can tell exactly how fast you've been based on like where that leaf is and like where the Croctuses are, whether or not their mouths are opening or closing. So yeah, fun fact, you actually can't break that egg with the washing machine. The bit where you have to beak barge it, you're too low. Like the washing machine hitbox is lower than Banjo's. I don't know why. Also, the intended way to do all these notes in the swamp water is by getting the wading boots, but the wading boots are too slow, so we just jump through and take the damage here. This is another reason why washing machine is faster, because washing machine doesn't take damage in the water there. Oh. Cheeky Croctus. Yeah, usually you're going to hit like a 17 or an 18 there optimally. What we're doing here is like the stupidest example of a jiggy thing. So you can get the jiggy here in the cutscene. It's actually a little bit quicker to come back after as the crocodile and get the jiggy, because the crocodile doesn't have a jiggy skip. So it's weird how like going that far out of your way to get the jiggy is actually faster, but it is. I'm doing HUD jumps, which is a silly strat. If you miss them, you just like fall off the edge. You can do a hard jump from this one to that one, but it's like too inconsistent that like no RTA runners go for it that I know of. And there used to be this really cool strat here where you'd like overlap the this Croctus cutscene with this witch switch here. But I actually don't need to hit the witch switch because the bee just got that jiggy before anyway, so wouldn't bother. That witch switch there's a couple ways to get that witch switch jiggy in the statue. You can actually do this clip through Grunty's neck to get that jiggy, or you can use the bee, or you can hit the witch switch. A few different ways. Alright, more swamp water because wading boots are for suckers. I always used to think these things were like cotton buds as a kid, or like Q-tips, I guess. I don't know what they're actually supposed to be.
Yeah, I've got no clue either.
I think of it like a cork on a stick for some reason.
Yeah, true. Tank Top's feet hurt, and for some reason ground pounding them makes him feel better. Very odd.
Violent massage.
This game's weird. Alright, now this bit coming up is why I actually have the whiteboard with me. I'm going to write down the pattern that the turtles give me. You can just remember it. Like, it's not that hard to remember, but I figure, like, the 1 out of 10 times that I forget it for whatever reason, I don't want to lose a run to that, like, an hour 50 in. That'd be a bit silly. But the hard part about it is, like, a lot of the color names of the turtles start with the same letter, like pink and purple. I'm going to try and do this strat where I gain control in the cutscene. So I got control here. I get control there. So now I can just stomp the pattern as the turtles are going.
Alright, get the pin out.
Get the pen. And there's a factor of RNG in here, like depending how close the turtles are. Like you could call it a good pattern or a bad pattern. So you always want the turtles to pop up next to each other if you can, and you'd like to end on yellow.
So not like this.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Kind of like a medium pattern, that one. Not bad, not great.
Oh, the end was good.
The Taz does a skip where it jumps up onto where that jiggy spawns and skips the dance, but it's like... yeah, it's pretty hard. Oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. I did like a little cheeky thing there, like ground pounding into the honeycomb. Similar to like ASM2024, like when you ground pound, you move up a little bit before you move down. And then you can just use it to do various bits and pieces. Like in Treasure Trove Cove, I used it to get out of a room that I didn't have enough height to jump out of. And the good thing about getting the honeycomb here and making Bubble Clip the last level is that now we got full health for this maze here. So as with the theming of this level, wading boots are for suckers, we're not going to use them. Just jump through the hurty water.
Do you ever use them in the run? 'Cause I don't think you have.
That's a good point. I do for the last bit of the maze, but the optimal strat uses gold feathers for that. That's actually a really... Oh, you got me thinking now. Oh.
Routing.
Routing. Yeah, and this bit here where I have 2 health left, like, if I try and go through that last bit of the maze now, I would die. So I'm going to have to wading boot that. The other thing that has just occurred to me, I really should be coming into Mr. Vile with 3 health. With Mr. Vile, if you lose, he chomps you. And when he chomps you, he takes 2 damage. So I might grab some more health. I'm not going to show it off in case I die, but there's a really cool thing. Oh no, I do have to show it off now. I screwed up. That's alright. Alright. So there's this little fly outside of Mumbo's skull, and like when you peck it with Banjo and kill it, it gives you 1 health. For some reason, when you peck it and kill it with the crocodile, it gives you 2 health. But I'm fairly sure. Oh, actually, I might. No, I might not. If I try to peck and kill that dragonfly, I'm pretty sure I would die if I missed. So I'd rather actually just take the risk on Vile. Let's hope I don't lose Vile. But yeah, if you peck the flies with the crocodile, for some reason it gives you 2 health. I don't know why it's extra. Alright, so I don't really feel like fighting Vile. I'm just going to wander around for a bit.
We could sing the Vile song, but I don't remember the lyrics.
So the real strategy I'm actually doing, you can see how slow Vile's going there. He's just taking his merry old time. Vile rubber bands. So if you just go absolutely as fast as you can, you tend to lose Vile because he like just zooms. You can actually see him speeding up a bit here now because I'm now ahead of him. So the best strat for Vile is to take your time, let him get a bit ahead, and then towards the end you just zoom ahead of him. Oh jeez. That should be alright.
That seems to be a strategy that works with a lot of the Banjo-Kazooie minigames. There's literally a race in Banjo-Tooie where I was never able to do it because I'd get too far in front and then the canary would catch up.
Oh, Canary Mary. Canary Mary is brutal. Yeah, so with Vile, so that I don't, like, rubber band him the wrong way, I have, like, very particular, like, items and stuff that I'm going to get. Like, this round I got all the stuff along the left, the first round I got all the stuff along the right. I'm actually playing pretty badly at Vile, this is not good. But yeah, if you get that particular stuff, you sort of end up rubber banding him the right amount. Oh my god. Oh, jeez.
Don't lose to Vile!
Uh-oh. Run.
I don't want to die!
Yeah, I might actually die here.
Get him.
He comes and chomps you. Now, this is why I kind of wanted to come in with 3 health as a backup. So you can escape him and not take the damage, but if you do that, you have to do round 1 again. So yeah, apologies about that. That's not good. Yeah, if you come in with 3 health, you can let him chomp you, and then he just plays the same round you're already up to. But, you know, it happens. The RBA round is sort of a double-edged sword. Like, Vile used to be about 40 minutes into the run. And that was good, because if you die, you just reset. Like, it can't be on that good a run 40 minutes in. Currently, Vile is pretty much the last thing we do in the run. So if you die to Vile, that is very bad, and you lose your run. And like the way the route works, it's optimal to come into Vile on 1 health. So like you don't just lose a minute to whatever round you're up to. You lose like all the rounds.
He's really zooming now.
He loves zooming. Also, the hitboxes extend up infinitely, so I really like just jumping and grabbing him like that.
Always learning something new.
Well, there's like a little Easter egg. I think if you get 35, you get like an extra life.
Ooh.
I think I just passed my PB time. Whoops. Dang vile. You can also sort of look at what way he's going to clue you into where the Yumblies and Grumblies are. Oh, also, if you tie, you lose. Now, this third phase is a little bit different. So, first phase, you just eat them. Second phase, you just eat the red ones. In the third phase, you got to eat whatever's on top of the screen. It seems really tricky, like, when you play this casually, but one thing to remember is it changes exactly every 10 seconds. So you just look at the timer, and when it hits 30, I know it's going to change over. And you actually, for some, like, in some ways, I actually find the third phase a bit easier for that reason, because you can sort of, like, game it. If you see him going for one, and you know it's about to change, like this, you know it's about to change over, you just wait. Now we got him. Also, the scary thing is it's optimal to wait close to him so that the Jiggy spawns there. But of course, if you wait close for him and end up losing, you just die. So trade-offs everywhere. It's pretty good downtime, so if we got any donations, go for it.
No new donations at the moment, but I do want to remind everyone that in addition to donating, any Twitch revenue we receive throughout the event will also be given to Game on Cancer. So that includes bits and subs to AusSpeedruns as another way to support Game on Cancer.
I was confused about those flies earlier. They do only deal 1 damage to the croc, but for some reason they're hard-coded to deal 2 damage to the bee, even though the bee can't get into Bubble Glip Swamp. It's a bit odd. Alright, so we've got 100% now. All I need to do is beat Grunty, so he's going to head back up through the lair. Conveniently, because we used the red cauldrons before to open Click Clock Wood, they're still open. If you do Click Clock Wood early, the other thing that makes that kind of slow is you still need to trigger the red cauldrons for this walk back up the lair. Otherwise, Click Clock Wood early would actually save a lot more time. But yeah, we haven't seen too many in this run, but the cauldrons sort of warp you all around the lair and stuff. And we got coming up Furnace Fun. Now, Furnace Fun's a big like quiz show. We got to answer all sorts of trivia about the game. It used to be a really annoying part of the run because there's these grunty questions that she asks, like about all personal private information, and the answers actually change every time you play the game for the grunty questions. There's this program, like there's only 255 patterns, and somebody wrote a program that would like tell you what pattern you've got after you've answered a few, but you would quite often lose like 20 seconds to the grunty questions. Luckily, currently, we don't need to answer any grunty questions anymore. That's because we have something called Nimpulk Skip. Nimpulk's in chat as well. Yo, Nimpulk. Nimpulk is like a legendary ukulele runner. That's sort of one big thing that he focuses on, but has dabbled in Banjo-Kazooie as well, and just happened to find this awesome skip for Furnace Fun. So we used to have a different skip called ARB Skip for Furnace Fun, and Furnace Fun would take like 2 minutes or something. Now with Nimpulk Skip, it takes about 1 minute 10, so it saves a whole bunch of time. Not to mention Nimpulk Skip cuts out any of those purple grunty squares, and we just go straight left instead. Also, the sound questions here, it is a little bit faster if you don't listen to the music. But you have to remember all the answers. And one time, I actually learnt all the answers because you can tell what the right one is from what the wrong one is. But yeah, it's a bit risky to try and go for that. Now here's an Mpox skip. It's like a 1 pixel wide gap where I gotta get into Talon Trot here. Actually, Nitros, you want to explain this one?
So yeah, we're going to find the pixel between that allows us to Talon Trot, and after Talon Trotting we need to immediately push A to enter the question, otherwise you have to do it all over again. Worst case, when we enter this, if we get a picture question, we basically have to get the question right and retry it further up on the board. Hey, it looks like we've got the right one.
You gotta answer it wrong as well.
Yeah.
So it tries to kill you when you answer one of those red skull questions wrong. But they didn't code for what happens if you're in Talon Trot when you do one. And by being in Talon Trot, it doesn't fling Banjo off the board properly. And to fling Banjo off the board, it puts down all the invisible walls, so that's why you can just jump across the board and it's done. Now I'm going to go for something called Dog Skip. Basically, nobody goes for this in 100%. It's a frame-perfect trick. It saves about 5 seconds. I love Dog Skip. You got to use it in any percent, because Dora Grunty takes 25 jiggies to open, and you need to skip that. But I like doing it in Hundo as well.
And it's real cool if you know the clucks. That was...
That was a jump, but I didn't get around the door.
Nice.
Okay. So obviously their opening Dora Grunty would have been faster in that case, but it's probably about 50-50 whenever I go for it. Like usually it's a trick that takes less than 10 seconds. So yeah, I tend to go for it because I just like the meme of it as well.
So, lot of style points.
And like a lot of people will just run 100% rather than 80%, and if you're just doing that, it's not worth learning Dog Skip. But since I already knew Dog Skip from 80%, I'm like, yeah, why not? And I would say more often than not, I do actually save time by going for it. The other factor is, like, because this TV is a little bit different than, like, the CRT that I play on at home, like, the timings do have to be adjusted there, so that'll be a factor in going for it in a marathon setting. Ooh, that was a bit slow. Alright, so these are the fireballs where you ground pound recoil. Like, you're invincible during your ground pound. Not there, because I screwed it up. You're normally invincible during your ground pound. And you just, like, ground pound and recoil and don't get hit. This bit of the fight is the hardest bit, because actually hitting it with a beak bomb is pretty finicky. And I broke the golden rule there. I beak bomb down. You're never supposed to beak bomb down, because, like, there, I very nearly died. It's actually kind of bad. Yeah, if you like beak bomb down and Banjo hits the ground, you can very easily tumble off the edge and just lose the entire Grunty fight. I'm going to go for something called Jinjo's Skip.
Don't soft lock.
Yeah, so if you do that skip, if you get it too late, you can, soft lock the game. Basically what happens is the next statue doesn't load its like hit detection for you. Ugh. And then we got the Ginjinator statue thing here. So she'll shoot fireballs at you, so you got to sort of keep moving. The fireballs home in on like a linear path, so if you go in a circle, you'll always miss them. But here we're just going to zigzag back and forth shooting eggs. Looks pretty sketchy, but it's fairly consistent. And that's time there.
Not going to be an overestimate.
So yeah, definitely check out the Banjo community. They're very welcoming. Lots of guides, lots of tutorials, and it's a pretty fun speed game. Would recommend it. I guess we'll set up for ukulele.